sorry about the rest of this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable and I represent the good people of our nation from the Federal Consensus and from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, my motion is on order 8 to 4 and 7, out of order national importance. That's to do with WTA, TA, which tomorrow one of us is appearing before them, and I'm urging this House to support that will put our support behind one of our own. I shall submit, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Benson, please second. Honorable Benson, please second. Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I remain Babajini Benson. I second the motion with respect to the World Trade Center. I still second, Mr. Speaker. World Trade Center. Did you say World Trade? Honorable, please. Did you say World Trade Center? Meant World Trade Organization, sir. Wait. The motion was not about World Trade. Honorable Lumelu, do you mind, please? The motion was not about World Trade Organization. What was it about? I second the motion to support our daughter that is running for the prime position in the World Trade Organization, sir. I should second. You can thank Olumelu for helping you. Olumelu, go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, the People's Speaker, the wonderful Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the House mates I remain Honorable to the Governor and I represent the people of our nation from the Federal Consensus and from Delta State. The House notes that via the Marrakesh Agreement of 15 April 1994 and signed by 123 nations, the World Trade Organization came into existence, replacing the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. Further notes that on 5th January 1995, the agreement came into force with a mission of regulating international trade in goods, services, and intellectual property between participating countries by providing a framework for negotiating trade agreements and a dispute resolution process aimed at enforcing the adherence of participants to the agreement. The House is aware that the chairman of the General Council of the World Trade Organization has announced the commitment. Honorable Gimba, you have thrown the House into turmoil in the last 1 week. Please don't come and get back and throw us into turmoil again. Please take your seat. And congratulations on your wonderful empowerment program. But I will use this opportunity. I will use this opportunity to let the whole world know that that is not usual. That has nothing to do with the National Assembly. It just shows your entrepreneurship and your ability to have alternative resources. So it's important to let the world know that amazing empowerment program, no legislator has the capacity, not even the Speaker, not the Senate President, the same. Honorable Lumelu, go ahead.
The House is aware that the chairman of the General Council of the World Trade Organization has announced the commencement of the process to replace the outstanding Director General Roberto Azevedo, with the opening date for nomination set for 8 June 2020 and closing date 8 July 2020. The House is further aware that a distinguished Nigerian, two-time Minister of Finance, one-time Minister of Foreign Affairs, a former Managing Director of the World Bank, has formally been nominated by the Federal Republic of Nigeria to vie for the exalted position of the Director General of the World Trade Organization for the period of 2021 to 2025. And if successful, will be the first female and first Africa to have occupied this office. Acknowledge that Mr. President Buhari, having put into consideration her outstanding academic and professional background, as well as her long years of managerial experience at the top of echelons of multilateral institutions, her reputation as a fearless reformer, an excellent negotiator, graciously endorsed her as the nation's candidate for the World Trade Organization job. Further acknowledge that with the COVID-19 pandemic at hand and many countries faced with difficult choices and critical moments, the World Trade has a vital role to play in hunting for trade solutions.
Honorable, noise over there, please. There's somebody, the leader is moving a motion. We can't hear.
Further acknowledge that with the COVID pandemic at hand and many countries faced with difficult choices and critical moments, the World Trade Organization has a vital role to play in hunting for trade solutions and building trust amongst member states. Hence the need for a capable...
Honorable Gagdi, Honorable Benson, can you please take your seats? Honorable Gagdi and Honorable Benson, you are disrupting the proceedings of the House.
Hence the...
Honorable Gagdi, that's not your seat.
Hence... Okay, I'll take again.
Honorable colleagues, are we in the green chambers conducting legislative work, or are we in a marketplace? I can see members backing the chair, shouting, talking, milling around. Please, let us respect these chambers. If you need to talk, nothing stops you. Please go outside and have your little tete-a-tete and then come back in. But for as long as we're in here, please, let us respect the sanctity of these chambers. Please. We're here for legislative work. Please. Honorable Lumelu, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Further acknowledge that with the COVID-19 pandemic at hand and many countries faced with difficult choices and critical moments, the World Trade Organization has a vital role to play in hunting for trade solutions and building trust amongst member states. Hence the need for a capable hand that can make the World Trade Organization fit to try for the 21st century. There is no gainsaying that will have a capable hand from Nigeria that will provide such headship. Concerned that it is the perfect time for Africa to assume leadership at the World Trade Organization, and all concerned stakeholders must unanimously commit to achieving this. Aside Nigeria, Africa has two other candidates from Egypt and Kenya, and entering the race with three candidates from Africa will split Africa's votes, which cripples the prospect of an African assuming the World Trade Organization position. Therefore, we must urgently reach out to the governments of Egypt and Kenya on the need to rally around a single candidate for the continent in the person of a candidate that Nigeria has put forward. Recall that in the past, Nigeria has staunchly supported the candidature of other Africans to leadership position at multilaterals, including the candidacy of late Boutros Ghali, an Egyptian national, to become the Secretary General of the United Nations. A good turn, they say, deserves another. And we must now unite the African continent and ensure cooperation amongst our countries to put the continent first. Further acknowledge that having a Nigerian as the Director General of the World Trade Organization will further enhance the image of the country among the Community of Nations, hence the need to massively support this bid. They have therefore resolved to endorse the candidature of our own Dr. Iwala for the position of the Director General of the World Trade Organization. Second, commend ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government for their strong endorsement. Urge Mr. President to further rally other African leaders to support her bid as the DG of World Trade Organization. Urge federal government to interfere with the government of Egypt and Kenya to step down their candidate in the spirit of African oneness and reciprocity. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Cornelius.
Thank you, the Honorable Speaker. I remain Honorable Prince Cornelius Sunach, and I represent Enugu East and Issues of Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, and from Enugu State. I rise to second the motion, ably moved by our leader, Deputy Mandatory Leader, Honorable Ndidi Chimelu. I so move.
Okay, I think Honorable Lelumelu has adequately addressed the issue. We'll just get 1 minute contribution from Honorable Sam Onegwe. But first, before Honorable Sam Onegwe, Honorable Mani, can you contribute to this for 1 minute? Honorable Mani, please contribute to the debate on the floor. Yes, you. I want you to contribute to Honorable Elumelu's motion.
I'm not ready to contribute, sir. Thank you.
Huh? I didn't hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I say I'm not ready now to contribute. Maybe later.
You are not ready. Are you against the motion? You want to speak against? You are not ready. Okay. Honorable Sam, are you ready? Give us 1 minute, and then we'll put the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Sam Ono Ibo. I represent the good people of Great Ikuano, Umuahia North, Umuahia South Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity for me to lend my voice to this important motion. At a time like this, when Nigerians are being moved upon from different directions, it is absolutely important that we identify and support one of our best. In this case, Dr. Mrs. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, for her quest to become the DG of World Trade Organization, a global body, an environment that she's very familiar with. Because having functioned very effectively and efficiently at the World Bank and also as Minister of Finance in Nigeria, one of our best. Mr. Speaker, I would like to urge our colleagues here, and indeed other Nigerians around the world, to seek support wherever they can get it, to give to our daughter, to go again and do one of the things she knows how to do best, which is putting Nigeria on the global map and representing us well. In fact, I am very proud and confident that as my constituent, she will do very, very well. I therefore seek the support of this honorable House to support our daughter to assume that position of the Director General of the World Trade Organization. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Is there anybody who wants to speak against the support of Madam Ngozi Iweala as DG World Trade Organization? Anybody? Okay, so if there's, in the absence of any opposition, I'll put the question. Oh, of course, I think Honorable, the House Leader, as of yesterday, had some reservations. Have you changed your mind? They've reached out to you. Okay. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Is Prince Obi here? Yes, please go ahead. Honorable colleagues, it's been 1 hour and counting, and we are not on the order paper yet. We are not on the order paper yet. We are abusing our rules, and I take responsibility for it, but it will have to stop. It will have to stop. If you come to me with a matter of urgent public importance, and I tell you we already have so-so number, just let it go. It will have to stop. This is our 7th, contrary to our rules. But we have been a little bit liberal because we only sit once a day. I mean, once a week, as opposed to the normal plenary of 3 times. And that's why we're trying to accommodate as well. But please, 2 things, and I've said it. Half of these motions are not urgent public importance. They're motions for the notice paper. That's number 1. Number 2, we will only be able to take so many. It's 1 hour, and we are not on the order paper yet. And we have a resolution that after 2 hours, we leave this place. So I think we should talk to each other, because another hour, wherever we are going to stop. And these are for obvious reasons. Wherever we are, at 1:30, we are going to stop. So we need to talk to each other, because those who are bringing these matters of urgent public importance, and again, I take responsibility for allowing it, but it's in a bid to try and accommodate as many people as possible. Those who are bringing these matters, in spite of the many persuasions that don't do this, you are making it difficult for those who have matters on notice to take their matter. And I think I've made this abundantly clear, and this is the last time I'll speak to this. We will, from now on, moving forward, we will stick to our rules, 2, and possibly a 3rd one, if the House grants leave for a 3rd one. That's what our rules say. Prince. You have a point of order? Go ahead.
I come order under 6 Rule 2, matter of privilege. Mr. Speaker, I am a member of this hallowed chamber. I remain Honorable Ndodi Godwin Elmelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Shimili Federal Constituency, and I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, since we came into office, this is probably 1 year and few days, we have had cause to pass resolutions and committed most of the resolutions to committees. And in some instances, those resolutions required only 4 weeks. In some instances, 2 weeks. In some instances, 6 weeks. And Mr. Speaker, this is 1 year, and most of the committees have not turned in their report. And it deprives us of the opportunity of knowing their findings as members of this hallowed chamber. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm begging you to please allow the chairman, or tell the chairman, to comply with stipulated resolution as passed by this House, that if it is 4 weeks, let 4 weeks be 4 weeks. If it is 6 weeks, let 6 weeks be 6 weeks. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, thank you. I believe this was discussed at the leadership meeting yesterday, and the announcement was supposed to have been made, and you are very correct. All resolutions must be turned in by Thursday, the 23rd, the last day of sitting. Thursday, the 23rd. Clerk, I need you to compile all House resolutions to date that are due to be turned in. Any resolution that is not turned in by Thursday, 23rd, that committee will be discharged of its responsibilities. Any resolution that is not turned in by 23rd, that committee will be discharged of that responsibility. So you need to compile and let us have the list in the next couple of days. Thank you. Prince, please continue. Point of order sustained.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Uchichukwu Namubi, and I represent the people of Ahoda West and Oba Ebemendoni Federal Constituency from River State. Mr. Speaker, I rise under Order 8, Rule 4 and 7 to raise the matter of urgent public importance and the urgent need to forestall the emerging crisis brewing in Omok, in Oba Ebemendoni local government area of River State. That this matter is urgent and that we suspend the relevant rules that will be taken now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Babangida, please second the motion. Honorable Babangida, please second the motion. We're waiting. We're waiting for the secondment. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my attention was drawn by the minority leader in respect of his last statement that all committees has to talk of their reports. So I was trying to draw his attention that the problem has nothing to do with the committee.
Your point is noted. Are you seconding the motion? Honorable Babangida, please just second the motion.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name still remains Honorable Babangida Ibrahim, representing Malamfashi, Kafur Federal Constituency. I'm from Katsina State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to second the motion as moved by Honorable. Thank you.
Thank you. Prince, very quickly move your motion so we can put the question.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Uchichukwu Namubi, and I represent the good people of Ahoda West and Oba Ebemendoni Federal Constituency from River State. My motion is on the urgent need to forestall the emerging crisis brewing in Omok, in Oba Ebemendoni local government area of River State. The House notes that Omok is made up of about 19 communities and is one of the biggest communities in Oba Ebemendoni local government area of River State. Omok is rich in oil and gas and play host to about 30 indigenous oil companies and several multinational companies, including Nigerian Ajib Oil Company, ENI. The town also harbors several oil and gas installations crucial to national interest. The House further notes that the 19 communities in Omok are divided into 3 administrative quarters, namely Obakata, Osomini, Obieti, with 6 communities for the last 2 and 7. And these communities have had a long-standing body, the Community Development Committee, with members drawn from all communities making up Omok to represent their interests, pursue and secure entitlements with the consent of the people. The CDC entered a 5-year renewable memorandum of understanding with Ajib and how to cater for the communities for peaceful coexistence. This understanding will elapse in 2023. This practice has been in existence for over 4 decades. The House is informed that the formation of the Community Development Committee is an internal arrangement of the Omok people to maintain a united front and elect responsible, available and experienced representatives from the 19 federating communities to deepen participation and build a resilient local community. The CDC is mandated to take collective action and generate common solutions to host community problems and sundry issues as it pertains to the people's harmonious existence and livelihood, as well as engage oil companies on matters bordering on the interest of the people. Concerned that the peace enjoyed in Omok has been threatened by the actions of an agitating group operating as CDC members of Obosi community, which is a constituent part of Omok community. And they allegedly claim that they have autonomy. And this practice is completely and totally alien to the people and our tradition in Oba and River State as a whole. The aforementioned group launched a demonstration at the gas plant, thereby blocking the entrance of Ajit for 4 straight days, and they have done this in the past. Mr. Speaker, the hope is to extract commitment through coercion, and thereby disturbing and disrupting the production of oil. The action has the potential of creating very serious conflict amongst the peace-loving people and thereby truncating the peace in the area. A stitch in saves 9. A stitch in time, they say, saves 9. The Rivers State government just recently on the 6th of July, 2020, in order to forestall the breach of peace in the state, issued a statement banning all activities of community development committees in the entire state. Nigerian Ajib Oil Company, as a matter of fact, and other bodies, as they claim, like the SSA, cannot determine autonomy of a people or break communities in Nigeria. That is the crux of the matter. Worried that the human lives are in danger, and with the impact of COVID-19 and the oil sector resulting in government earnings, reduction in government earnings, any crisis in this region will not only affect the oil production, even our budget will be affected, and all the installations, and to a large extent, lead to a loss of human lives and derail the peace enjoyed in the area. The House, accordingly, resolves, in order to restore normalcy, avoid further disruption of oil production, and save lives, call on its committees on Niger Delta affairs, petroleum upstream, states and local government to intervene and investigate the situation in Omok and report back to the House in 4 weeks for further legislative action. 2, to call on the Inspector General of Police to beef up security in Omok, Obricom, and its environs to forestall possible breach of the peace. The essence of this motion is to bring about peace. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my dear colleagues, for your support.
Zaimos, yes, second, please. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Point of order? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I'm Dachu Musa Bogos, representing the people of Jos South, Jos East Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm standing on Order 6, Rule 2, under a matter of privileges. Mr. Speaker, it will recall that most members are having serious issues
Honorable Bamidele, come back.
Driving into the National Assembly. It took some
Honorable
of us.
Bamidele, go back to your seat.
It took some of us over 40 minutes at the gate of the National Assembly before driving in, and that's why some of us were late. Mr. Speaker, if the House can really draw the attention of the Sergeant at Arms, Internal Security and House Services to look into this, to create an alternative entrance for members into the National Assembly so that we'll be here on time for legislative duties. That's my point of order, Mr. Speaker.
A point of order sustained. Chairman, House Services and Internal Security, Sergeant at Arms, Clerk, please make sure they look into this matter. Thank you. We'll take the last one, 2 minutes. Honorable Ningi.
Right Honorable Speaker, sir, my respected colleagues, my name is Abdullah Saad Abdul Qadir. I represent Ningiwarji Federal Constituency of Bauchi State. I come under Rule 8, on Order 8, Rule 4, on matters of urgent public importance on the need for urgent investigation and audit of the Nigerian Export Supervision Scheme Fund in view of the non-rendition of accounts to the Auditor General for the Federation by the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning and the excessive abuse of the NEST funds. I so move.
Honorable Luke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Onofio Luke, by the grace of God, I represent the people of Etinan, Nsiribom Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my brother, Honorable Nengi, from Bauchi.
Honorable Nengi.
Right Honorable Speaker, some my respected colleagues, the House recalls that the Pre-Shipment Inspection of Export Act 1966 requires that prior to the export of any goods from Nigeria, it must be inspected by an inspection agent, which in turn is required to issue, where appropriate, a clean certificate of inspection to the overseas buyer of the goods. The House further recalls that both oil and non-oil export are liable to pre-shipment inspection in respect of their quality, quantity, and price, and the inspection agent is required to issue to the exporter a provisional certificate of inspection. Upon loading of the goods and conduct of a final inspection where the goods satisfy the required threshold as to the quantity, quality, and price, the inspection agent will issue a clean certificate of inspection. The House notes that in order to engender transparency in the administration of pre-shipment inspection program, the Act requires the inspection agent to send an original copy of the clean certificate of inspection to the following bodies: the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, referred to as the Federal Ministry of Finance, the Nigerian Customs, the Nigerian Ports Authority, the exporter, the exporters' banks for transmission to the buyer's bank overseas, and the Central Bank of Nigeria. The House further notes that in the spirit of transparency and public accountability, the inspection agent is obliged to furnish weekly reports of successfully conducted pre-shipment inspection to the Federal Ministry of Finance, Federal Ministry of Commerce, now Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment, and the Central Bank of Nigeria. House further notes that the Act requires the payment of a levy by exporters of...
Come back.
House further notes that the Act requires the payment of a levy by exporters of goods as pre-shipment inspection levy, which will be paid into a special fund from which the remuneration fees and other charges of the inspection agents are to be defrayed. In addition, Section 14, subsection 3 of the Act requires that any balance remaining in the special fund is to be used for funding the pre-shipment inspection program. Aware that Section 80, subsection 1 and subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended requires revenue that accrue to the Federation, which is not constitutionally required to be paid into a specific fund, must be paid into the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation. Hence, in view of the fact that the Act creates a special fund, balances in that fund is exempted from being paid to the Consolidated Revenue Fund. The House recalls that even though the fund is exempted from being remitted into the Consolidated Revenue Fund, Section 80, subsection 4 of the Constitution requires that spending or expenditure from any special fund cannot be done without any appropriation by the National Assembly. Section 80, subsection 4 of the Constitution states as follows: no money shall be withdrawn from the Consolidated Revenue Fund or any other public fund of the Federation, except in the manner prescribed by the National Assembly. House notes that for the past 10 years, the Federal Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of Nigeria has expended from the fund without National Assembly appropriation for such spending. That is widely known that both the Federal Ministry of Finance and Central Bank of Nigeria utilize the funds in special fund as a sort of slush fund. The House further notes that this constitutes a gross violation of the letters and spirit of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, the transparency intents embedded in the Pre-Shipment Inspection of Export Act 1966 and the Finance Control and Management Act. The extra statutory deductions and illegal expenditure from this fund has cost Nigeria over 700 billion naira within the last 10 years. Recently, over 500 million United States dollars was expended from the fund without any budgetary appropriation. In addition, the Federal Ministry of Finance has failed and refused deliberately to render its account in respect of the Nigerian Export Supervision Scheme Fund to the Auditor General for the Federation for auditing. Concerned that if urgent steps are not taken to investigate and audit the next fund, Nigeria may risk the strong possibility of losing more money, and the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Federal Ministry of Finance may continue to use this fund as a slush fund with the chances of diverting it to personal use without any public scrutiny. The House resolves to mandate the House Committee on Public Accounts to carry out an investigation on the above allegations and report back to the House within 4 weeks. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Second. Change your seat. Second, Honorable Modibo. You're the second? Anybody? Okay, we have second. Please, second. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Kabir Idris, member representing Kura, Madobiga, Rumalang. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. I rise to support this very important motion raised by Honorable Lingi. I shall support Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Okay, seconded. I think it's straightforward. Put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, say nay. Ayes have it. All members, the first visit of the day is presentation of 39 bills, and I invite the clerk to read the short titles.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Federal Medical Center Onara, Establishment Bill 2020, first reading. Crime Against Humanity, War Crimes, Genocide and Related Offenses Bill 2020, first reading. National Institute of Industrial Technology, Kwale, Delta State Establishment, Esetria Bill 2020, first reading. National Institute for Culture Orientation, Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Agricultural Development Trust Fund Bill 2020, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Act, Alteration Bill 2020, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1990 Act, Alteration Bill 2020, first reading. National Meteorological Training Institute, Ogbaru, Assembling Eritrea Bill 2020, first reading. Water Resources Act, Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. River Basin Development Authorities Act, Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act, Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Prevention of Crimes Act, Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Establishment, etc. Act, Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Criminal Code Act, Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. National Institute for Nigerian Languages Act, Repeal and Enactment Bill 2020, first reading. Notaries Public Act, Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Act, Alteration Bill 2020, first reading. Federal Technical College, Ikuru Town, Rivers State, Assembly Bill 2020, first reading. Federal Medical Center, Boni, Rivers State, Assembly Bill 2020, first reading. Federal College of Agriculture is saying, Oyo State, Assembly Bill 2020, first reading. Federal Polytechnic is saying, Oyo State, Assembly Bill 2020, first reading. Charter Institute of Development Studies and Administration of Nigeria, Assembly Bill 2020, first reading. Insurance Bill 2020, first reading. the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation Act, repealing and enactment bill 2024 CD, Cyber Crimes Prohibition, Prevention, etc. Act, Amendment Bill 2024 CD, Federal University of Agriculture, Ibadan, Oyo State Bill 2024 CD, Pension Reforms Act, Amendment Bill 2024 CD, Interpretation Act, Amendment Bill 2024 CD, Federal College of Agriculture, Ishiago, Establishment, SSR Bill 2024 CD, Federal College of Land Resources Technology, Owerri, Establishment SSR Bill 2024 CD, Defense Industry Corporation of Nigeria Act, Amendment Bill 2024 CD, Innovation and Price Competition Bill 2024 CD, Voluntary Income Declaration Recovery and Amnesty Scheme Bill 2024 CD, Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act, Repeal and Amendment Bill and Enactment Bill 2024 CD, Federal Neuro Psychiatric Hospital, Isiagu, Izinato, 2024 CD, Administration of Criminal Justice Act Amendment Bill 2024 CD, Federal University of Aviation Technology, UYO, Establishment, etc. Bill 2024 CD, National Center for Research, Management and Control of Autism and Down Syndrome, Bill 2024 CD, Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading.
Honorable colleagues, the second business of the day is presentation of a report of the Committee on Federal Road Safety Commission on the need to establish more roadside clinics and improve facilities in the existing roadside clinics. Standing in the name of Honorable Mayowa Akifolari Samuel, Honorable Mayowa is invited to present the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Akifolari Mayowa Samuel. I represent Ileoluji Okego, Odigbo Federal Constituency. I am from the Sunshine State, Ondo. Mr. Speaker, I seek the leave for and permission of this Honorable House to step down this report to the next sitting day to enable the committee make little adjustment on the report. I so move.
Seconder, please. Honorable Mani, you are ready. Honorable Mani is ready. Honorable Mani, can you second?
Mr. Speaker, that time I was physically present but mentally absent. So that is why I don't want to say anything without making proper scrutiny. But for now, I can say something. So, I am Amin Ashurmani, member representing Bindamani. I am from Katsina State, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion, heavily moved by Honorable Mayowa, and I so second. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable, okay, those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Mayowa, please lay your report. Third business of the day is presentation of report of the Committee on Aviation on the need to stop the use of foreign airlines in evacuating Nigerians stranded abroad. Standing in the name of Honorable Noli Naji, Honorable Naji is invited to present the report.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Noli Naji. I represent Kano East and West Federal Constituency. I'm from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, colleagues, please, I seek the approval of the House to enable me to submit the report of investigation on the need to stop the use of foreign airlines in evacuating Nigerians stranded abroad. Mr. Speaker, I seek.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues. My My name is Honorable Bede Uchenna Eke. I represent the good people of Abombise, Ngopala Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I do second the motion ably moved by the Chairman, House Committee on Aviation, that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Aviation on the need to stop the use of foreign airlines in evacuating Nigerians stranded abroad. Mr. Speaker, I so second. Thank you.
Okay, those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honourable members, the first order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the Legislative Houses Powers and Privileges Act 2017 to preserve the legislative powers of a legislative house and guarantee the principles of separation of powers and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Hassan Fulata and Honorable Onoha Miriam. Honourable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 2nd July 2020. I now invite Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata to move that the bill be now read a second time. Honorable Fulata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Berniwa, Krika Sama, Budi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move that a bill for an act to amend the Legislative Houses Powers and Privileges Act 2017 to preserve the legislative powers of the Legislative House and guarantee the principle of separation of powers and for related matters, HB 898. I so move.
Princess.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Princess Miriam Odinaka Honoha. I represent the good people of Isi Alamba, no Onuimo, Okigwe Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to second this all-important bill as ably moved by. I so second.
Honorable Fulata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. This bill seeks to consolidate the powers of legislation as aptly articulated in Section 4, subsections 1 to 9 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Essentially, this bill seeks to amend subsection 1 of the Legislative Houses Powers and Privileges Act 2017 to add section 1A and to read as follows. A criminal or civil proceeding shall not be instituted against a member of the State House for a matter before it or its committee, save that the proceeding can be instituted for judicial review upon completion of legislative action on the said matter by the Legislative House or its committees. Mr. Speaker, it could be recalled that of recent, several attempts were made to arrest legislative processes, stop the National Assembly or state assemblies from doing their constitutional duty just because someone had an interest in a certain legislative process. So this bill seeks to insulate the institution of the National Assembly from such unnecessary litigation. In fact, any member of society can challenge after the law has gone through its normal course. After it has been assented, you can now take any action or take any judicial process to secure a review. But you cannot stop the National Assembly from doing its constitutional duties as enshrined in Section 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Recently, someone sought to challenge these powers before a court of law, and the ruling of the court is as follows, where the court held that it lacked jurisdiction in stopping the House of Reps in performing its law-making constitutional function of passing bills, and the court does not have the power to distort the process until it is passed. What has been passed cannot violate any law. So it is essentially absurd for a lawyer, for example, to request to go to approach a court, asking the court to abort a pregnancy on the assumption that the child to be born would be a criminal. The law does not punish potential offenders. The law punishes offenders who violated laws. You cannot anticipate that, okay, such a person can be a criminal. Therefore, the court should abort that pregnancy. So it is so absurd. It is as good as taking this trend. So, honorable colleagues, this is a very straightforward matter. I urge all my colleagues, all colleagues to support this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, because of the subject matter, we'll just take 2 minutes from the co-sponsor and then Honorable Osai, 1 minute. Co-sponsor, Princess Miriam.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, my name once again is Honorable Princess Miriam Odinaka Onoaha. Alambano, Onimo, Okigwe Federal Constituency. I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this bill couldn't have come at a better time than now. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, you are aware that oftentimes in the discharge of our constitutional duties, especially recently, it has become a common practice where our committees are working and we invite a certain persons, and the next thing you see is they brandish court orders stating the reason for non-appearance is because they will become sub judice because of a matter that is pending in court. This bill is amending the Legislative House's Powers and Privileges Act of 2017, and it further goes to say that no criminal or civil proceeding can be instituted against this House or committee or member for a matter before it, save for judicial review, but upon completion, successful completion of a legislative matter thereon. It goes to say that no person or persons, for whatever reason, shall take on to stop the proceedings of the House until our matter is concluded. It goes to say that you cannot stop what the House intends to do or what the House is doing until the House has completed its action on a certain matter before you can go to court if you wish. This bill does not in any way stop the jurisdiction of court. It doesn't in any way reduce citizens or remove citizens' rights or access to court, but it goes to define the locus or the grounds for litigation of any member of public who wishes to institute an action against the House. I may wish to let us know also that we are empowered by the Constitution to carry on our legislative duties. And one of those will be to appropriate for the executive. It also includes to provide oversight and ensure that there is no corruption and waste of public funds. But I bring it to this house that oftentimes this carrot and juicy part of this duty is being enjoyed by many. But when it comes to the time of oversight and accountability, the actions of the House is most times kicked against. And this further goes to protect the fact that as a person or for the general public, it's not good to just want the baby and reject the cry of the baby at night. Both of them go together. And this bill seeks to allow us to also meet with our legislative calendar or agenda. If we keep appointing lawyers to attend to legal suits against our proceedings or actions on the House, then we would nowhere be able to meet up with our legislative calendar as drawn. Honorable colleagues, Mr. Speaker, I urge us to support this bill so that it will preach and support the principle of separation of powers, where no arm of government is allowed to inhibit the execution of the constitutional functions of the other arm. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I do not wish to belabor or overstress this debate. I think the facts already has spoken for itself. Thank you, honorable colleagues.
Okay, Honorable Osai, 1 minute, please, so we can move on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai, Nicholas Osai. I represent local Kwani Federal Constituency of Delta State. In order not to belabor most of these issues that have been canvassed, I rise to adopt the views of the two last speakers as if they were mine. And secondly, Mr. Speaker, when you looked at Section 4, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Section 61 of the Criminal Code of our country, you agree with me completely and totally that obstruction of legislative powers to enact legislations cannot be tolerated. And that's what this bill tends to achieve and cure. Mr. Speaker, so I affirm my good support, my complete support on the amendment of this bill because it goes a long way in strengthening Section 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, strengthening Section 61 of the Criminal Code of our country in the statute book. I believe that, Mr. Speaker, it has already been canvassed, and I so support. I rest my case.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. I'll just say a quick word before I put the question, because it's a very important bill on separation of powers and our powers under Section 4 of the Constitution. We have witnessed so many cases. This House or the Senate is doing its constitutional responsibility or undergoing its constitutional responsibility, and people run to court to get an injunction, which is very strange. We might as well pack our books and go home if we're going to be stopped from exercising constitutional duties. It is almost akin to us passing law and arresting a court judgment while the proceedings is ongoing, and we arrest the judgment. That is what it is, arresting legislative process. And I'm glad that this bill is here. There's a doctrine called doctrine of ripeness. For the lawyers who are here, you know what I mean. The matter is not ripe for adjudication. It's not ripe for adjudication. It is only upon at the time when the matter has been concluded and signed into law. You don't preempt a matter. Signed into law, then you can go to court and say the matter is illegal, or the bill is illegal or unconstitutional. Not before that. I'll put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for now to amend the Legislative House's Powers and Privileges Act 2017 to preserve legislative powers of the Legislative House and guarantee the principle of separation of powers and for later matters. Second reading.
Thank you. Bill is referred to the Committee on Justice. Second order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture. Is Honorable Kawu here? Of Agriculture and Technology, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Hafiz Ibrahim Kawu. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Friday, 20 February 20th, 2020, and I invite Honorable Kawu to move that the bill be read a second time.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Honorable Hafiz Kawu, representing the good people of Tarauni Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move for the bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Technology, Tarauni, Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I move the bill to be read the second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
What do you say, Chairman? Yes. Any seconder? Okay, again, second time. Second.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Distinguished colleagues, I remain Honorable B. Uchenna Eke. I represent the good people of Abombi Sengopal Federal Constituency. I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion. For this bill to be read the second time, I so second. No, it's second. Second. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, I'll just put the question. Those who support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The clerk is invited to read the long title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for now to establish Federal University of Agriculture and Technology, Tarauni, and for related matters. Second reading.
The bill is referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education and Service. Third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to provide the legal framework for the administration and management of the National Social Investment Fund to cater for the basic need of the poorest and most vulnerable Nigerians, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Wale. Members will recall that the bill was read first time Tuesday, 7 July 2009. I invite Honorable Oke to move the bill read. Honorable Oke, please, can you approach the chair, please? Fourth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an... Okay, hold on. Honorable...
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and fellow colleagues. Mr. Speaker, may I request that this bill be stepped down to enable me lead wider research and consultation. I'll be back. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable. Okay, bill step down. Fourth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish the Federal Polytechnic Zandi Plateau State to provide full and part-time courses of instruction in different fields of studies and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Dachong Bagos. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time Thursday, 18 July 2019, and I invite Honorable Bagos to move that the bill be read the second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I'm Dachu Musa Bagos. I rise to move for the second reading of a bill for an act to establish the Federal Polytechnic Zandi Plateau State to provide full and part-time courses of instruction in different fields of studies and for related matters. I so move.
Seconder.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Dr. Haruna Michelia. I represent all the people of Askara Overhaul Federal Constituency of Borno State. I stand to second the bill as moved by Honorable Bogos. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Bagos, I'm going to put the question. There's no need to lead the debate. It's clear. It's establishment of a federal polytechnic. Those who support, please say aye. Those against, say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill. Get it.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for an act to establish the Federal Polytechnic Zandi Plateau State to provide full and part-time courses of instruction in different fields of studies and for related matters. Second reading.
Okay, bill referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services. Fifth order of the day is commencement of debate of the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the Electoral Act, Cap E, laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to prohibit members of the National Electoral Commission and resident electoral commissioners from engaging in partisan politics within 5 years of recruitment, resignation, and official relief of duties and for related matters. Stand in the name of Honorable Tasir Olawale Raji. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 21st of November, 2019, and I invite Honorable Raji to move that the bill be read a second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Wale Raji. I represent a federal constituency of Lagos State. I stand to move the motion for that a bill for an act to amend the Electoral Act to prohibit members of the National Electoral Commission and resident electoral commissioners from engaging in partisan politics within 5 years of retirement, not recruitment, retirement, resignation, and official relief of duties, and for related matters. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, any second? Okay, Honorable Eden.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I'm Honorable Aki Alabi. I represent the good people of Egbeda on our federal constituency. I'm from Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion by Honorable Olawale Raji to proceed with the second reading. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'm going to put the question. Those who support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. We're going to take, because he had started his, clerk, read the long title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for now to amend the Electoral Act to prohibit members of the National Electoral Commission and resident electoral commissioners from engaging in partisan politics within 5 years of recruitment, resignation, and official release of duties and for later matters. Second reading.
The bill is referred to Committee on Electoral Matters. Honorable Onigo had started his motion when we arrested it halfway. So I'll go to item 11 because we have to shut down, and after that, we'll go to Committee of the Whole. Honorable Onigo, please, very quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the motion on the need to urgently intervene in the case of attack and gruesome murder. Oh, sorry, Mr. Speaker, my name is Samuel Ono Ibo. I represent the good people of Great Ikuano, Umuahia North, Umuahia South Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to move the motion on the need to urgently intervene in the case of attack and gruesome murder of 4 indigents of Osakuku in Ikuano local government area of Abia State by armed indigents of Ibono Okoro Nkari in the local government area of Akwa Ibom State in order to prevent a bloodbath. The House notes that the people of Osakuku Autonomous Community in Ikuano local government area of Abia State share boundaries with Ibono Okoro, Ekoro Emion, and Ekoro Etim communities, all in the local government area of Akwa Ibom State, and have always lived peacefully with each other as neighbors without any land or boundary disputes of any sort. Informed that on 20th May 2020, some indigents of Osakuku went to their ancestral farmland at Ebata, and while there, irate and armed indigents of Ibono Okoro, numbering over 8 persons, attacked and killed one of them, Mr. Peter Uwechegi Ugoji, and inflicted machete and gunshot wounds on over 4 other persons. The corpse of Mr. Peter Uwechegi Ugoji was later recovered and deposited in the mortuary. Also informed that the people of Osakuku duly reported the incident to the security agencies, including the Army Commander, Army Barracks, Ariam Ikuano, and on 22nd May 2020, a peace meeting was initiated by the chairman of Ikuano local government in Ariam, Army Barracks, with the following people in attendance: Chief Security Officer to the Governor of Abia State, Area Commander Umuahia Area Police Command, representing the Commissioner of Police, Divisional Police Officer Ikuano, LGA, DSS from Ikuano, and in the local government areas, the Army Commander, the host, and other Army officers, Chairman of Ikuano, INI, and Obot Hakara, LGAs, and their deputies, and 10 representatives each from Ariamo Saka clan and Ibino Okoro Nkari. Also notes that during the peace meeting, the people of Osakuku requested that a joint patrol team made up of the Army, the police, the DSS, and personnel from the 2 local government areas be established to patrol the 2 communities to avoid any repeat attack, that the 2 communities should stay away from the farmland where the murder took place, and that the killers of Mr. Ugoji be produced and handed over to the security agencies for prosecution. Further notes that the chairman of INI, LGA, Honorable Israel Idaisi, demonstrated statesmanship in noting that the people of Ibono Ikoro were responsible for the gruesome murder of Mr. Ugoji and publicly apologized to the people of Osakuku and Abia State government for the attack and mother of their son, and appealed that Osakuku people should not go for a reprisal attack, while promising that the culprits will be apprehended and handed over to security agencies. Promised that Ibono Okoro and the local government will assist in the burial of late Peter Uweche Ugoji. Concerned that while a visit to the local Simpo was scheduled to hold for 28 May 2020, and 30th May 2020 was chosen as the date for the reconvening of the peace meeting to appraise the visit to the local Simpo. On 23rd May 2020, the people of Ibono Okoro remobilized and ambushed Osakuku Autonomous Community and shot Mr. John Irozuru and his son, Chisom, on their way to their farm at Abama. But luckily, they escaped, but their motorcycle, which the attackers seized, has not been recovered till date. Also concerned that on 15th June 2020, the indigenes of Ibono Okoro disregarded all peace efforts and continued with the attack, which resulted in the gruesome murder of 3 Osakuku indigenes, namely Irwe Bulam Isaac, Boniface Ugunna, and Ihana Cho Orioha, who went to their ancestral farmland at Oji and Aloko, where they were apprehended and beheaded by the Ibono Okoro indigenes. Aware that the army, the police, and the DSS were contacted and visited the said land and saw pools of blood in different locations with traces of how 2 of the murdered victims were dragged away, and their corpses have not been recovered till date. Disturbed that since those premeditated killings were allegedly carried out by the people of Ibono Okoro Nkari against their Osakuku neighbors, no arrests have been made by any of the security agencies as a stern warning against the people of Ibono Okoro and the people of Osakuku Autonomous Community are of the opinion that Nkari is being sponsored to grab their land because of the abundant mineral resources deposits, such as kaolin. Also disturbed that on 30th June 2020, the people of Ibono Okoro embarked on forceful and unjustified harvesting of the farm produce of the people of Osakuku, even when they were fully aware that authorities are working on how to restore peace to the area. This is absolutely troubling because this ancestral land of Osakuku people has never been in dispute. Cognizant that Section 14(2)(b) of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended provides that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government, and believing that this type of bloodletting should have been prevented by security agencies in the area. Resolved to urge the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense, the Nigerian Police, and the Department of State Service, and the Nigerian Army to ensure that the perpetrators of those gruesome killings are arrested and prosecuted as a deterrent. Also urge the National Boundary Commission to immediately commence the demarcation of the boundary between the 2 warring communities to avert a repeat of this ugly bloodletting experience. Further urge the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, and Social Development to immediately send relief materials to the people of Osakuku community who have fled their homes due to the attacks. Condemn the killing of 4 Osakuku indigenes in cold blood by armed indigenes of Ibono Okoro, even when the state and military authorities were working on the restoration of permanent peace between those age-long neighbors, and observe a minute's silence in their honor. And mandate the committees on special duties and legislative compliance to ensure the implementation of the resolutions and report back within 2 weeks for further legislative action. Honorable Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so move.
Yes, seconder. Honorable Lumelu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elumelu, and I represent the good people of our North Church Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Sam Onuibu. I so second.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. We skipped Order 6, which is an important item, that is the reconsideration of outstanding bills, which must always be taken when it's on the order paper. The sixth order of the day is the motion on the reconsideration of outstanding bills from the preceding assembly, pursuant to Order 12, Rule 16 of the Standing Order of the House of Representatives, standing name of Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata. Honorable Fulata, please move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Berniwa, Krikasama, Gudi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Reconsideration of outstanding bills from Presiding Assembly. Mandatory inclusion of agricultural science in secondary schools curriculum in Nigeria. Bill 2019, HB 244. Institute of Economics of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2019, HB 162. Abuja Geographical Information System Bill 2019, HB 215. Chartered Institute of Entrepreneurship Education Bill 2019, HB 305. Chartered Institute of Forensic and Investigative Professionals of Nigeria Establishment, etc. Bill 2020, HB 791. Nigerian Council for Psychologists Establishment Bill 2020, HB 848. Southeast Development Commission Establishment, etc. Bill 2020, HB 887. Nigerian Railway Authority Bill, HB Nigerian Railway Authority Bill 2020, HB 888. Nigerian Postal Commission Bill 2020, HB 889. Federal Capital Territory Transport Authority Establishment, etc. Bill 2020, HB 890. Chartered Institute of Training and Development Bill 2020, HB 891. National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment Establishment, etc. Bill 2020, HB 892. Fisheries Institute of Nigeria Establishment, etc. Bill 2020, HB 896. National Water Resource Bill 2020, HB 921. House notes that pursuant to Order 12, Rule 16 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, bills passed by the Presiding Assembly and forwarded to the Senate for concurrence, for which no concurrence was made or negatived, or passed by the Senate and forwarded to the House, for which no concurrence was made or negatived, or which were passed by the National Assembly and forwarded to the President for assent, but for which assent or withholding thereof was not communicated before the end of the tenure of the Assembly, the House may resolve that such bills, upon being regazetted or clean copies circulated, be reconsidered in the Committee of the Whole without being commenced de novo. Also note that the aforementioned bills were passed by the Presiding Assembly and forwarded to the Senate for concurrence, for which no concurrence was made and or forwarded to the President for assent, but for which assent or withholding thereof was not communicated before the end of the tenure of the last Assembly. Aware that the bills were regazetted as House Bills 244, 162, 215, 305, 791, 488, 848, 887, 888, 889, 890, 891, 892, 896, and 921 respectively, and read the first time. Resolved to commit the bills to the Committee of the Whole. I so move.
Honorable Niru Baba, please can you help us second that? Point of order? Okay, let's Honorable Osai raise his point of order. What's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai Nicholas Osai. I represent local Kwani Federal Constituency of Delta State. My point of order arises on Order 12 sub Rule 14 in respect of item 14 in the item that is being moved as a motion today. They are bills of the same subject matter. Mr. Speaker, when this particular item 14 bill is taken to the committee of the whole House, my bill will be short-circuited, so changed, and it won't have any effect again, because at the end of the day, we cannot move forward with my own personal bill if item 14 in the one he has read is taken to the committee of the whole House according to our rules. So it is my prayer, Mr. Speaker, that item 14 of the motion be dropped for him to be consolidated.
Honorable Flatter. Honorable Osai is saying that item 14, amongst the bills you want reconsidered, is the same as his bill that is pending, and it should be consolidated. Because once it goes to committee on the whole, that puts paid to his own bill. So what is your response?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, Osei has approached me at this point that his bill is on the same subject matter, and that he wanted a consolidation at this time, but his bill has not been read even the second time. It has not been read the second time. So it has not reached the point where we are going to consolidate it. So I asked him, I told him that it is already with this one.
Okay, but his bill has been read the first time and gazetted. And in other words, it's already in the mill, in the legislative process. And the effect of that matter going to the committee of whole, because it means that it will be passed. And once it is passed, his own bill, which has been gazetted and read for the first time, becomes a nullity. Becomes, an academic exercise and a waste of legislative time. And I think he's right. Let's step that one down and consolidate that item with his own, and take them together for second reading. Point of order sustained. Honorable colleagues, several members have come to me here, about 4 or 5 members, saying they wanted their. Okay, let's finish this. Did we get a second half? No, we did a second half. Oh, Munir, yes, he was about to second. Honorable Munir Baba, please second.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Munir Babata Aguzi. I represent Kumbota Federal Constituency of Kano State. I hereby second the motion ably amended by Honorable Platt. I so second.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Yes, I was saying several members have approached me since I announced that we're about to go straight to the committee of whole. Again, let me repeat. Unfortunately, we cannot. We have a resolution to close after 2 hours. We cannot go back to on our resolution unless we have a motion for recession. It is unfortunate that some bills have to be stepped down. It is the fault of other members. And that's why I said, please, let's talk to ourselves. When you keep bringing motions of urgent public importance that are not even motion of urgent public, you affect those who have been patient enough to have their bills and their matters listed. And I think it's very unfair. So please, bear with me for now. Chairman, Business and Rules, please. Those matters that are being stepped down today, please have them listed on Tuesday. Please. It's very unfair on the members. Unfortunately, circumstances are such that we have to move on. It's almost 2 o'clock. We'll take Honorable Zongo Dara's That's, which one is that? The next one. Which is the seventh order, before we go to the committee of the whole. Seventh order of the day is a motion on need to provide emergency relief materials for victims of windstorm in various communities in Vaure local government area, Katsina, standing in the name of Honorable Nasir Sani Zango Daura. Honorable Daura is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I'm Nasir Sani Zango Daura. I represent Zango Vaure Federal Constituency. I'm from Katsina State. My motion is on the need to provide emergency relief materials for victims of windstorms in various communities in our local government area of Katsina State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House notes that torrential rainfall, flooding, and windstorms have become a yearly occurrence all over the country, with devastating outcomes that result in very dire humanitarian and economic consequences. And they have had greater negative impact in the northwest geopolitical zone of the country, with Katsina State and Zango Vaure Federal Constituency in particular having the most devastation. Also notes that in September 2019, Mr. Speaker, there were serious devastations in communities constituting 12 wards in Vaure local government area and 10 wards in Zango local government area, both in Katsina State, as a result of flooding and torrential rainfall, which led to the destruction of about 400 houses, various household items, farms, foodstuff, and animals. Further notes that an appeal made to the National Emergency Management Agency then to provide succor for the affected communities through the provision of relief materials to the victims did not produce the required response. We haven't heard anything. We have pushed for it. Nothing is yet to happen over a year ago. Concerned that on 11th and 13th June this year, 2020, serious windstorms resulting from torrential rainfall sadly led to the death of 2 persons and hospitalization of no fewer than 3 other people in various communities and villages constituting 8 wards in Ore local government area of Katsina State. We are also concerned by the number of villages and communities affected by the current windstorm devastations, which include Zoda, Wanga, Hui, Chikingari, Ungwarai, Warrior Salla, Wankade, Kwarin Gawasa, Awurin Gyada, Gamaji, Bukudu, Doki, Taramnawa, Totsi, Salai, Dandago, Shado, Ungwarjibo, Ilalla. I could go on listing these communities, Mr. Speaker, but I'll hold on there. Aware that conservatively a total of 789 houses were substantially damaged, affecting about 1,309 rooms, excluding the walls and fences of such houses. Also aware that the displaced family members are currently seeking shelter in schools, while others are putting up with friends and relatives who will only be able to accommodate and take care of them for a short period of time. Cognizant that if relief materials are not made available to them in the shortest possible time, they run the risk of transiting into internally displaced persons, thereby stretching the capacity of the existing IDP camps in the state. The House resolves to urge the National Emergency Management Agency to send relief materials to victims of the windstorms, most of whom are currently in makeshift shelters in the affected communities. Also urge the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to ameliorate the devastating effects of the windstorm in the affected communities by providing emergency materials like foodstuff and building materials. I mandate the Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness to ensure the delivery of such emergency materials by the National Emergency Management Agency and the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to the affected communities. Also mandate the Committees on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness and Environment and Habitat
to make recommendations that will address the issue of perennial flooding and windstorm destruction across the country. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so move.
Any seconder? Seconder?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Amir Tukur Idris, member representing Bakur and Japara constituency. I'm from Katsina State. I stand to second the motion heavily moved by my elder brother, Honorable Nasir Sanzangwandara. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Amir. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Hands have it. 15th order of the day. Chairman Business, can you step down all the other matters and also move that they be listed for Tuesday?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Except for all the other matters before item number 15, I believe, before consideration of reports.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Samfulata. I represent Berniwa, Krika, Sama, Gudi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move that all items on the order paper, save consideration of reports, be stepped down by the leave of the House. I so move.
Okay, the 15th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to repeal the Arbitration and Conciliation Act, Cap A18, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and enact the Arbitration and Mediation Bill to provide a unified legal framework for the fair and efficient settlement of commercial disputes by arbitration and mediation, make applicable the Convention of the Recognition and Enforcement of Foreign Arbitral Awards, New York Convention, to any award made in Nigeria or in any contracting state arising out of the international commercial arbitration, the Convention on the International Settlement Agreements resulting from mediation, the Singapore Convention, and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, 18 December 2019. Honorable Mongunu will move for the consideration. Please, Chairman Business, can you step down Mongonu's 15th order of the day? Can you step it down?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Samfulata. I represent Berniwa, Krika, Sama, Guri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that item number 15 on the order paper be stepped down by the leave of the House. I so move.
The bill stepped down. 16th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to establish the Pharmaceutical Technologies and Pharmacy Technicians Regulatory Council of Nigeria to be vested with the responsibility of determining standards of knowledge and skills to be attained by persons seeking to become pharmaceutical technologists and pharmacy technicians. And for related matters, honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Thursday, 21st November 2019. Aminu Tukur Idris will move for the consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, for the bill seeks to establish the Pharmaceutical Technologies and Pharmacist Technician as a regulatory body to determine the standard of knowledge and skills to attend the persons seeking to become pharmaceutical technologists and pharmacy technicians. So, thank you.
Seconder. Honorable Sani Zangadara.
Thank you. Second, the motion to consider or the move to consider the report or the bill for an act to establish the Pharmaceutical Technologies and Pharmacy Technicians Regulatory Council of Nigeria as moved by Honorable Amoni Tukur. I so second, sir.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. 17th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to repeal the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Courts Act 2010 and enact the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Courts Bill to, among other things, expand the jurisdiction of the area courts to entertain both civil and criminal matters and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Tuesday, 7 July 2020. Honorable Munir Nanagundu will move for its consideration.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Munir Babada Nagundi. I represent Kumbodo Federal Constituency of Kano State. I hereby move for a bill for an act to repeal the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Court Act 2010 and enact Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Court Bill to, among other things, expand the jurisdiction of the area courts to entertain both civil and criminal matters and for other related matters. I so move.
Any seconded to Honorable Agundu's bill?
Mr. Speaker, my name is Honorable Adebayo Balogun, representing the Juneki Federal Constituency. I hereby support the consideration of the bill number 15 as moved, 17 as moved by Honorable Munir Baba. I so support.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say aye. Ayes have it. I'll say that. Please move that the House do resolve into the Committee of the Whole to consider the bills.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. Ado Dongwa is my name. Mr. Speaker, I move as directed that this House do resolve to the Committee of the Whole to consider these reports. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move.
Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. Here's House hereby resolves to the Committee of the Whole. Leadership, please don't forget we have a meeting at 2:30. Honorable Elumelu and the rest of the leadership, we have a meeting at 2:30 today in the new building.
Respected colleagues, the first bill to be considered is for an act to establish the Pharmaceutical Technologies and Pharmacy Technicians Regulatory Council of Nigeria to be vested with the responsibility of determining standards of knowledge and skills to be attained by persons seeking to become pharmaceutical technologists and pharmacy technicians and for related matters. I now invite our Honorable Amiru to give us the synopsis of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues. If you could recall that this bill was passed by the 8th Assembly and forwarded to the Senate for concurrence, and the concurrence was not achieved. And this bill seeks to establish the pharmaceutical technologists and pharmacy technicians as a regulatory body to determine the standard of the knowledge and skills to be attained by persons seeking to become pharmaceutical technologists and pharmacy technicians. The bill seeks to establish the regulatory council and a body corporate with the power to sue and be sued. Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, the bill has its objective in Clause 2 of the bill and shall operate without relying on the government subventions, but rather fees and other due from its members. I urge you to allow this bill to be considered, my honorable colleagues. Thank you very much.
Colleagues, Clause 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, The sponsor has a bill saying 30 carried. So, look. Schedules 1 to 5. Long title. Explanatory memoranda. Colleagues, with the same speed of light, because of leadership meeting, please. The second bill to be considered is for an act to repeal the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Council Act 2010 and enact the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Coast Bill to, among other things, expand the jurisdiction of the area councils to entertain both civil and criminal matters and political matters. And I invite Honorable Munir to give a synopsis of the bill. 30 seconds.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. My name is Munir Babadan Agundi, representing Kumboro Federal Constituency of Kano State. This bill seeks to confer criminal jurisdiction on area courts in the Federal Capital Territory in addition to its existing jurisdiction over civil matters in which parties are subject to the jurisdiction of the court to the extent set out in the establishing warrant. It further makes provision for the application of the Penal Code Act, Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, and any other written law which the court may be authorized to enforce in accordance with the provisions of the bill. Thank you.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 47, 48, 49, 50. Explanatory memoranda. 50, sorry. You have 51, 51, 52, 53, 54. Explanatory memoranda. Leader, long title, sorry. Leader, move that will report to the plenary to report progress.
It's not big, okay. Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members. I rise to move that this House will revert to plenary and report progress, please. I so move.
Mr. Speaker, I'm Abubakar Safulata. I represent Perniwa Krika Samaguri Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the leader of the House that the House will refer to plenary to report progress. I so second.
The motion say aye. Those against say nay. That's a bill. House is here, but plan to report progress. Respected colleagues, the House, in the Committee of the Whole, considered the report on a bill for an act to establish the Pharmaceutical Technologies and Pharmacy Technicians Regulatory Council of Nigeria to be vested with the responsibility of determining the standard of knowledge and skills to be attained by persons seeking to become pharmaceutical technologists and pharmacy technicians and related approved colleges 1 to 29, the schedules, explanatory memoranda, and the long title of the bill. Respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report on a bill for an act to repeal the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Code Act 2020 and enact the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Code Bill to, among other things, expand the jurisdiction of the courts to entertain both civil and criminal matters and related matters approved clauses 1 to 54. Therefore, the explanatory memoranda and the long title for the bill. Leader, move for the adoption of the report. Go.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. Once again, Honorable Ado Dogwa is my name, representing Dogwa Tudunwada Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm from Kano State. I rise to move that this House do adopt a report of the Committee of the Whole as reported, Mr. Speaker. Honorable members, I so move.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am Obaka Safulata. I represent Beniwa Krika Sama for the constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the leader of the House that the House do adopt the proceedings of the Committee of the Whole. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Move that we adopt the votes and proceedings of today. So, sorry, Chairman rules, move that we suspend our relevant rules first for the purpose of adopting our votes and proceedings of today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I'm Abubakar Safulata. I represent Beniwa Krika Samaguri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do, that we do suspend our excellent rules to adopt the votes and proceedings of today's sittings. I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues. My name is Darlington Mokocha. I speak for Isiolongo North, Isiolongo South Federal Constituency. I'm from Niger State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second this motion as ably moved. I have a second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader, move that we adopt the votes and proceedings of today.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. Pursuant to the suspension of our relevant rules, I move that this House adopt the votes and proceedings of today for obvious reasons. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move.
Honorable Goni, second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Gideon Goni. I come from Kaduna State. I represent Gaura Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the leader of the House. So second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader, move for the adjournment of the House to Tuesday next week.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members. Thank you for a very fruitful and productive day, and I therefore move that this House do adjourn to Tuesday, next week, 11 a.m. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I do move. Thank you.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Dudi Godwin Elvelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion moved by the House Leader. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Next week, 11 a.m.